We'll start today's call off in Huntsville, Alabama, and start things off with James Spady, head football coach at Alabama A&M. His team fell to Middle Tennessee State, and this Saturday they will travel to Mississippi Valley State. Kickoff is set for 4 p.m. in Itabena. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Joshua.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could recap your action against Middle Tennessee and preview your conference opener on the road this weekend.
Well, a lot of good things from this weekend, and just as many difficult things. But good thing is that we got a game in. You spend a month going through training camp and get tired of hitting on each other, and it's really a nice change up to get a chance to go after another opponent, especially before you have to go and play a conference game. So that was huge. Also, some of the takeaways from the game, we had minimal penalties. I cost us one when I allowed us to take a delay so that we could punt the ball and maybe get a little bit better field position, and instead my punter wound up, the wind behind him took it out of the end zone. Anyway, so that was one of our 6 penalties. So for the most part, I'm pleased with the fact that, we came out of the game with only 5 penalties on the road. It was also a really good thing that we were very sound special teams wise. We did a good job of covering. Our return teams were pretty good in their execution. And so, we got a good bead on where we are as a football team. We were outmatched. That football team in Middle Tennessee State is really good. They got a bunch of good-looking kids who can run, and it was good for us to challenge ourselves against that kind of opponent before we take on Mississippi Valley State for, a conference game. So we're excited. We're going to go back to work today and tomorrow and Wednesday and try to, clean up some things, and hopefully we'll be hitting on all cylinders Saturday in Itabena.
All right, the floor is now open for Alabama A&M head coach James Spady.
Coach Spady, Trevin Jones, SBN Sports. How you doing this morning, Coach?
Doing good. Thanks for asking, Trevin.
Great. Coach, give me 28 points in the first quarter. So I know that your team goes into every game looking to win, without question. That's how we do. What is it that you tell your team at that point in time to keep their focus? And what type of game planning do you then take on when you're down by 28?
You tell your team to keep playing football. A lot of game left. It's just the first quarter. All we got to do is develop some rhythm and just keep playing. If something good happens, keep playing. If something bad happens, keep playing for 60 minutes. And those guys are competitors. That's not hard to do. It's just listen. Just keep trying to throw at the wall and see what we can come up with. The other thing, game planning wise, we plan through the week for the next opponent, and just because you're down 28 at the beginning of the game doesn't mean you go away from that. You actually try to find ways to stick to it because your plan is still your plan. And to be honest with you, Middle Tennessee didn't do anything that we didn't expect. It was just that they were better than us on Saturday.
Right, and Coach, the reason I asked that question is that I think it reflects mental toughness, amongst the team that you keep churning away. My next question is this: I saw you use 3 quarterbacks. Is that correct?
Yeah, not on purpose. Tootie got banged up on one play, and I brought Damien in. Damien has been playing wide receiver, slot receiver for us, and I brought Damien in because PJ was the third quarterback. Anyway, make a long story short, Damien came in through an interception. I got mad, and so I went with PJ, but not on purpose. We weren't trying to play 3 quarterbacks.
Got you. My last question, Coach, is there anything that impressed you about your squad as the game wore on?
Well, see, you asked the question a minute ago, and it gave me an opportunity. I think I forgot what train of thought I had, but it gave me an opportunity, and I'm glad you followed up. This is a competitive football team. And at no point during that game Saturday did those guys think that they were out of the game. I mean, realistically, later on, yeah, of course. But early on, we always felt like at any point something's going to break our way, and we're just going to, start the floodgates, if you will. They're a very competitive football team, and I love these guys. I love what they bring to the party, and we're going to win a bunch of games because of that.
And my last question, Coach, is Mississippi Valley State didn't have an easy time this past weekend either. Is there anything that you see in this club that has you kind of scratching your head a little bit as you approach this game against the Delta Devils?
Not scratching my head at all, but we've looked at them on film and we're familiar with them. We'll look more like them than we did our previous opponent. We'll look more like Mississippi Valley State than we did Middle Tennessee, and I like our chances.
Awesome, Coach. Thanks for your time and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Talking things over with James Spady, head football coach at Alabama A&M. A few minutes left still in his segment. Taking your questions.
I'll jump back in if I can, if you don't mind. Coach Trevin Jones again, SBN Sports.
Sure.
Austin Bray, can you talk about him a little bit? That's who you'll probably face this weekend.
I didn't understand what you said. I'm sorry. Who? What name did you mention?
Austin Bray, the quarterback for Mississippi Valley State.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I saw where he connected on 19 of his passes, 36 attempts, 178 yards. He had a touchdown. I think he was only sacked twice. Is there anything that stands out in your mind when you look at this quarterback?
Well, I know this. When you have a great player like that, you have to plan to answer when he gets his situation going. If they're going to throw the ball, and obviously we've got to have some answers in the passing game. Put pressure on the quarterback. Give us a chance to contain him. He's also pretty athletic, if what I've seen is true. And so we have to have a plan to account for all of that. If he's going to beat us through the air, our secondary is going to need to be squared away, and our pass rush. And if he's going to beat us on the ground, then we've got to have a plan as well. Today is Monday. We've broken them down, and we're starting to put together the game plan. As we go along the week, we'll get more specific. So I'm struggling to give you specifics that we're going to do to attack him. To be honest with you, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and we just started game planning.
I got you. That's understood, Coach. My last question will be Marquise Green, standout defensive back for Mississippi Valley State. Have you seen him on film? And of course, I think you've seen him last year as well. What is your opinion on that gentleman?
Absolutely. Good football player. And Mississippi Valley State has a bunch of good football players from 1 to 11. And but I don't typically game plan based on an individual. We're trying to look at what they're going to bring, against us. How will they stop this particular formation? How will they attack this particular defensive front? And to be honest with you, we're not going to concentrate on any specific individual. We're going to concentrate on how best to attack them and how to thwart their attack against us. And as I said, we're kind of in the inception. We just really started game planning this morning. And so, as we go further, we'll know a little bit more about what we want to do.
Conference recording. Stop.
Thank you.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us this morning, and good luck on the road against Mississippi Valley this coming Saturday.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's James Spady, head coach at Alabama A&M. Next up on the call.
Conference recording started.
Hi, Coach Jenkins. Brian Jenkins on with us from Alabama State. Coach, if you could just talk a little bit about your game with Texas San Antonio and preview your conference opener with Alcorn State.
Texas San Antonio was a tough, hard-fought game. Our guys went in and played hard. We didn't play well enough to win, and because of that, we came out on the losing end. But showed a lot of promising things. Played from beginning to end. So I'm still proud of this football team and very appreciative of their effort. And, hopefully that same effort can carry over to the next football game that's coming up, which is against Alcorn State. We're really looking forward to that game against Alcorn State. They're a championship football team, and if our team wants to take that next step, then we're going to have to go in and beat these guys. So we're preparing to do that, and really looking forward to the big challenge. And I know they're preparing for us, and we're going to be on their home turf, which is going to make it even more challenging. But I tell you what, I think it's going to be a great weekend for a football game, and we're just excited and ready to get after it.
Only a couple of minutes left in the segment. Brian Jenkins, your questions quickly.
Hey, Coach Jenkins. Good morning. This is Charles Edmond from WPRL.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, Coach. Talk about Khalid Thomas, who was close to 100 yards in the game Saturday, and then you were talking at media day about your quarterback situation, young battle. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, Khalid Thomas is definitely a veteran who knows how to prepare for games, and he's been in many situations to where he understands how to perform. So it was good to see him get off to a good start, and really looking forward to him having a grand and successful year. As far as Battle, Battle was a guy that we went on and went with for the first game as a starter, and he did a very decent job. But as always, everything is wiped off the board, and we'll see if he's the guy that's the trigger puller for this game. QT came in and late in the game and took the team down the field and punched it in, and so that he has to get credit for that. And we really have to take notice of that. So we'll see. I mean, everything is wiped off the board now, and both of those guys got a battle to see who's going to be the trigger puller for this game.
Conference recording stopped.
Coach, we're out of time. We appreciate you joining us, and we wish you well against your battle with Alcorn State this coming Saturday.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. That's Brian Jenkins of Alabama State, head coach. Again, his team faces Alcorn. The game can be seen on ESPN3, 6 p.m. in Lorman, Mississippi.
Conference recording started.
Speaking of Lorman, Mississippi, we stayed there now with Fred McNair of Alcorn State. His team was in the MEAC SWAC Challenge on yesterday, and the game was called due to severe weather in the second quarter. However, the Braves were leading, just so we'll know, 14-6 at that point when the game was called, but it will not count as a contest. Again, his team hosts Alabama State on ESPN3 at 6 p.m. We say good morning to Coach McNair. Good morning, Coach.
How's everything going, man?
Just fine, Coach. If you could revisit a wild weekend, if you will. So much for, I guess, a coaching debut with the Braves as the game was canceled. So talk a little bit about that preparation this weekend, and now you turn your attention to your conference opener with Alabama State.
Well, I guess the biggest thing is the team and the coaching staff got a chance to visit down in Bethune and get a chance to play a contest, but so much sense some live bullets at you other than your own teammates and all that kind of stuff for the first time. Great experience for me as a head coach. Had a great time, and the experience was pretty much great. Other than that, just the idea of the rain and the storm and all that kind of stuff, having to go back and forth in and out of the dressing room was kind of frustrating to the players, this idea they wanted to play the game, but, I think for the safety of the team and both team and the coaching staff and the fans, I think the decision was a good one to suspend the game and all that situation. But now, just to look ahead to Alabama State this coming Saturday, be a good contest for us also. We got 3 games in 15 days for us, so we're just getting ready and make preparation for that on Saturday.
All right, the floor is now open for Alcorn State head coach Fred McNair.
Coach McNair, good morning. This is Taylor at the Natchez Democrat. How are you?
I'm doing fine, man. How you doing?
Coach, obviously some frustration with not getting a complete game in yesterday. is the evaluation of players the thing you miss the most with only playing a partial game, and how far back are you?
Well, you get a chance to go through it. During the whole camp of our camp during this fall, it's been raining and all that kind of stuff. So we pretty much kind of familiar with those situations with the rain and the lightning storm. We had to go into practice and then come out and then go back in, here at practice during the camp. So kind of familiar ground for us as a team and a coaching staff. But, just watching the little bit we played, the quarter and a half we played, just watching it this morning and just evaluating some of the guys, you still get a chance to see some good things in our players, some good things they did as a team, and get a chance to see some stuff on special team that we need to correct. And as an offensive defensive team, you kind of get a chance to correct those areas that we do have during that time we played. Just simple stuff like too many flags and stuff like that. And penalties. Just kind of correct those amount of things that way. So we did get a chance to evaluate some good things and some bad stuff we need to correct.
What was your impression of your offense that really was starting to roll right up until the stoppage?
I tell you what, I'm very impressed with those guys where they just took him and his strides, and just conditioning part. I think we prepared for that all camp, just for what we need to do as far as for conditioning stuff. So I think the kids was pretty much in shape, and throughout the whole day, they just, Coach, we ready to play, and appreciate the work you gave us and conditioning and all that kind of stuff. So we gonna be tough. I mean, we're gonna be okay. Just got to keep things going the way they're going.
And Coach, UTSA had some success throwing the ball against Alabama State defense. How important is it for Lenore's to be sharp this week?
Well, that's the thing that we stressed this whole spring and even during tour days, fall camp, that just his passing game and being more accurate in his game and all that kind of stuff, being more consistent in what he's doing in the passing game. And just from the course of the game this past weekend, we saw some good things in Lenore's. He delivered the ball very well and doing the things he needed to take to get the ball to the receivers, I would say. But the loss, he's going to be the loss. He's a great quarterback, and the team goes as far as Lenore's go, as far as the offense is concerned. He's going to put us in the best situation to win ball games.
Thank you, Coach.
Still talking things over with Fred McNair, head coach at Alcorn State.
Hey, Coach McNair, how you doing? This is Charles Edmond from WPRL.
Hey, Charles, how's it going, man?
Yeah, good morning to you. That delay, the back and forth. You talked about how frenetic your team was wanting to get back out there. What could you tell them to settle them down, knowing that a lot of that stuff was not under your control?
Well, and that's the thing I told them, when I went back into the locker room the first time we came back out and having to go back in, it's just kind of the same situation we've been here during camp. We having to come out and then we have to go back in for lightning and rain. So, they were familiar with it. And, the biggest thing is to calm them down. It's guys, we've been here before, It's not our first rodeo in this weather and this climate what we're dealing with. So they understood that, and said, Coach, we just excited and ready to play for you, and I respected those guys, and they understood that, what was going on with the weather and all that kind of stuff. So they was kind of used to it, but at the same time, they were biting at the bits, ready to play. So you kind of respect that in a big way, that how excited it was to play a football game, other than banging each other every day. So to get a chance to see a different color jersey on the other side of the ball, and just like I said, it was a game that we were looking forward to. With the kids, they know my expectation and everything, so they understood the whole situation.
Two guys that caught touchdowns in the game before was called, obviously, Tip McKenzie and DeLance Turner. So just talk about those two individuals, guys that had not obviously seen a lot of action in the past. Just talk about those two.
Those two guys, man. Tip, he kind of got banged up a little bit last year and everything, so he was limited in his playing time. So he's one of the guys who was just anxious to come back and be a part of this program again, and just being an idea that he missed a lot of time last year, and him coming back and being excited about it and playing as well as he did the first quarter. He had that fumble, which he banged against his own guy. And those things like that. We just gotta cut down on those fumbles and those mistakes like that. That kills an offense drive. And DeLance Turner, he was out the whole season last year, and this is a guy that we really gonna rely on to do a lot of things in our backfield, and he's a big help in our passing game. So DeLance does a lot of great things to help this program to be successful on the offensive side of the ball. And he's a great kid, got a great manner, willing to do anything it takes to be a part of this program and play in a position. So DeLance is a solid player for us.
Coach, talk about Alabama State, a team coming off a tough loss against Texas San Antonio. They actually led in that game at one point. So what do you see in Coach Jenkins' ball club, especially Khalid Thomas, who had 90-plus yards rushing on Saturday?
Oh, that's the biggest thing. And they're a good football program. I think Coach Brian is doing a great job with those guys over there, man. And, for us, we just got to do what we have to do to play Alcorn's caliber football. We cut down on the mistakes and make plays on defense and special team and stuff like that. And we control everything on our side. If Alcorn play Alcorn football, we'll be okay. We just can't have those mistakes. And like I said, Coach Jenkins is doing a wonderful job with those guys. And for them to play a team like up in Texas, it was a big team for them. Just the same way as well. Left Cookman, first time experience on the field and first game of the season, and got to get those jitterbugs out, and now you come in and play a SWAC team, one of your arch rivalries here in the SWAC, and for the first time you see a SWAC team. It's kind of big, just to be on this stage now against Alabama State. To be a great, exciting ball game for us.
Any more questions for Fred McNair? Coach, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to joining you next week.
I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
Conference recording stopped.
That's Fred McNair, head coach at Alcorn State. His team will host Alabama State. The game can be viewed on ESPN3 this Saturday. To Pine Bluff, Arkansas, we go now.
Conference recording started.
And we talk things over with Monte Coleman, whose team fell to Tennessee State, and they will host Oklahoma Panhandle at 6 p.m. this coming Saturday. Good morning, Coach Coleman.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could revisit your battle with Tennessee State and the John Merrick Classic, and also give us a preview of what to expect in your home opener this weekend.
Well, the team was very disappointed going to Tennessee State this week. I thought the first half we played Tennessee State very well. We did a lot of good things the first half, but unfortunately for us, the second half we made way too many mistakes to be able to overcome a good football team in Tennessee State. There was a lot of bright areas. The one thing we didn't do, we didn't run the football like we anticipated. They got us one-dimensional because we got behind. And by doing that, we had to throw the football more than we tried to run the football. Tennessee State's a good football team, and I felt like we played well against them, like I said, the first half. And then coming out the second half, they just kind of overpowered us. But I was very optimistic and very pleased with a lot of things that some of the young guys that we've got playing did, and give us something to build off of. We are in our home opener against Panhandle, Oklahoma Panhandle this week. We met with the kids yesterday, and they seemed, to understand what we've got to do. We'll come out and practice again tomorrow, and get ready for Panhandle. I think everybody's ready to go, and watching them on film, they lost their opener also. And, we're excited about being able to play at home in front of our home crowd.
All right, the floor is now open for Monte Coleman, head coach at Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Coach Coleman, Trevin Jones, SBN Sports. How you doing this morning?
I'm sorry, who's this?
Trevin Jones, SBN Sports. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good.
Good. Coach, real quick, I wanted to ask you about Brandon Duncan and his performance with passing and running. Is that by design with him using the attack with both his arm and his legs, or was that forced upon him to run more than anticipated?
No, we actually, we're not anticipating him running. We want him to stay in the pocket and try to complete the passes. Of course, Brandon being a dual threat type quarterback, he does have the ability, if the play is not there to pass, he has the ability to pull it down, which he showed on Saturday, to run with the football. That he started for us the last game against Mississippi Valley last year, and he won out the starting job during training camp this year. And we have a lot of confidence in Brandon's throwing and his running ability. The key thing with Brandon this game, he had no turnovers. We had one special teams turnover, and the offense didn't turn the football over, which was an Achilles heel for us. So, we're excited that he didn't throw the interceptions, and there's a lot of things that he did well. He made some bad reads on a couple of plays, but overall he graded out, decent, because we did protect the football.
And I see where he spread the ball around amongst the receivers. I'm quite sure you have to be happy about the way he's picking different receivers in the attack.
Oh, absolutely. Any quarterback in the country has a progression that they have to go through according to the offensive play and the coordinator. And Brandon went through his progression, and that's what it's designed for. They can't key in on just one receiver. When you got a receiver like a Willie Young, a lot of times teams double him. If he goes through his progression, Willie will catch some balls, but a lot of the other guys will also, and that's what happened in this game.
And I realize it's Monday, Coach, but have you seen Oklahoma Panhandle State, and have you seen their quarterback True Love? I think he had 219 yards this past weekend passing. And what do you know of him?
Well, just what we watched on film. We got back yesterday morning about 6 o'clock. We came in and we worked, and we broke films down from last year in their game the other day against Sam Houston. And he's a very accurate quarterback. He stands in the pocket. He got a great delivery, throws the ball well, and he's got some receivers and backs that's coming out of backfield that catch the ball real good. So right now, because they got behind, they had to throw the ball a lot more. But they also have a very successful or very good running attack, even though it didn't show as much in this last game because they did get behind. But the young man can throw the football extremely well.
Thanks for your time, Coach, and good luck.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, this is Nick Walker with the Democrat Gazette. You talked about a lot of the things that your team did right, but obviously the penalties had to be a sore point for you. I know you talked about a lot of the young guys, but if you could, just talk about the penalties and what you guys need to change on that end.
I think the penalties were pretty much a tail of the tape for the game. Very inopportune times. We got penalties when we had first downs that brought it back. It changes your play calling when you go from first down to 2nd and 15 or 2nd and 20. It makes it extremely bad. So, yeah, the penalties were disheartening. We're a young football team, but still with that, we don't practice making the penalties like we did, and unfortunately for us in the game, we got way too many penalties, and I think that's what stymied us for the most part.
You talked about your offense and, how you started to see some good things. Obviously in a game like that, you can't see how the new coach's, offense is truly going to be, but did you start to see some of the things that you hoped to see when you brought these guys in?
Well, I have all the confidence in the world in Coach White and his staff over on offense. The new coaches that came in with Fredericks, teaming up with Coach Sane and Coach Nivens, I'm excited about them. I've seen what they've done in practice. The penalties kind of messed them up some in the game because we were successful in the first half doing some things. Now, the one thing that we've got to start running the football, and that's what we didn't establish at all in the game, and partially because we did get behind, but for the most part, we've got to run the football. We pride ourselves on trying to run the football. We've got a good stable of backs, and we've got to utilize those guys. But as far as the coaches, I've got all the confidence in the world in Coach White and his scheme. And it's the first game. We're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater after the first game. We'll continue to build, and I'll make sure that we perfect some of the things that we know we can do. And Coach White is my man for the job.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Nick.
So any more questions for Monte Coleman at Arkansas Pine Bluff? Coach, one last question before you go. Again, early in the season, how gratifying is it to know that you're coming back home now to host and get your crowd involved and your fans involved for a ball game?
That is very gratifying. We love playing here at Golden Lion Stadium. It's a football atmosphere. After being on the road a six and a half hour trip to Nashville, to be able to come home for the non-conference game, it's going to be exciting. So the players are excited, the coaches are excited, and it's always, like I said, always great to be at home, to play in front of your home crowd. So should be a good week for us.
Conference recording stopped.
Thank you very much, Coach. We look forward to talking with you next week.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
Yes, sir. That's Monte Coleman, head coach of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff.
Conference recording started.
Next up, we'll talk things over with Broderick Fobbs, head coach at Grambling State. And his team defeated Virginia Lynchburg, and they will play on the West Coast. 9:45 Central Time kick on the Pac-12 network. That game can be seen, and it'll be against Arizona. Good morning, Coach Fobbs.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. Talk about your opening weekend victory, and let's preview the trip out west to Arizona.
Well, it was good to get out and play against another opponent. Being that we were getting so much bad weather in training camp, we were only able to have one scrimmage. So being able to get out and play again, chance to tackle and run around and run the football and do some things, I thought really helped us tremendously. The good thing about it is we were able to play a lot of people, which allows us to really solidify some depth for our program. But then also we were able to see some guys play and perform that weren't given those opportunities, to do so, because it's very difficult to tackle in training camp like you want to, because you want to try to stay off the ground and keep everyone healthy. So it was good. We did make some mistakes. That's always the case in week one. But the good thing about it is, most of the time, pretty much every program, you improve tremendously between week one and week two, and we're no different. There's a lot of things that we have to continue to work on and continue to develop if we're going to be where we want to be in the end. So we're fortunate to have an opportunity to go out to Arizona and play on the West Coast and play against a Power 5 team and a Power 5 conference. Of course, they have 22 more scholarships than we do, but the good thing about it is, we can all play 11, and that's all we can play at a time. So it's going to be a tough task, and we'll have to play mistake-free football in order to have a chance. And we're looking forward to the challenge because at the end of the day, it's about continuing to develop and get better so that we can be prepared for conference play.
All right, the floor is now open for Broderick Fobbs, head coach at Grambling State.
Coach Trevin Jones, SBN Sports. How you doing this morning?
How you doing? Good to hear from you, actually.
I'm well. It's always good to talk to you, Coach. Coach, in a game such as the ones you just had, with such a disparity in the scoring, what things stood out in your mind with your team? Because, as you stated, you got to see more players, and you got to see your game in a game situation for the first time this season.
Well, it was good to see some guys move around, and I thought we moved around well. I thought we played hard. I think the difference in this year as opposed to last year is, our focus is more about how we do things, not necessarily, the outcome. So for us, it's about playing together and playing hard for 4 straight quarters and not playing a certain way based off of who you play. So I thought our kids did a tremendous job of remaining focused and doing that regardless of who was in the ball game, because at the end of the day, you want to put 4 good quarters together, not just one, and that's our focus and that's our mindset throughout the season.
And what do you focus on besides the opponent, of course, but this week in practice, not stepping up in competition, but as you said, a top 5 power that you're facing? What do you stress on with your players mentally, as well as physically preparing them for the game?
Well, we prepare the same way regardless of who we play. We look at this thing like a hurdle race, and I've mentioned this before. It doesn't matter. We all starting at the starting line at the same place, so it doesn't matter what lane you're in. All what matters is you got to make sure that you get out of the drive phase and you clear the first hurdle. And now we're at hurdle number 2, so our focus is the second hurdle. If you start looking back at the first hurdle or look ahead at the third hurdle, you'll trip over or stumble over the second hurdle, which will affect the entire race. So for us, the focus is hurdle number 2 and just doing what we need to do to be effective and to clear the second hurdle the right way. So it's going to be a tough task, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
And I see where Martez is picking up where he left off last season. How impressed were you with his performance? I know it wasn't a surprise to you.
Well, I mean, it's not a surprise, with Martez Carter. I mean, he's an exceptional young man on and off the field, and what he's able to do is truly exceptional. It's not too many things that young man can't do. There are people that can play the game, and then there are people that can really play the game, and he's one of those young men that can really play the game. So we're fortunate to have him. The whole key is just to get him to sometime take the pars, because he's so aggressive at trying to make big plays. Sometimes he can affect us in a negative way trying to make those big plays. So he's a work in progress, and he's learning how to play the position, and the whole key is to get him to understand that there are times when you have to take the pars, and then there are times when the opportunity is there where you do what you need to do with it. So we're happy with him.
And my last question, Coach, as you get ready to face Arizona, facing an opponent like that, the speed of the game changes on you, if I'm not mistaken, and if I'm incorrect, please correct me. How are the Tigers going to adjust to that?
Well, absolutely. Of course the speed of the game changes. I mean, you're playing against a team out on the West Coast that's in the Pac-12 conference, so of course it's gonna speed up. But it's something that I think is good for our ball club because it allows us to play the game at a different level, but then also it continues to allow us to play lots of people, because I'm a firm believer in playing lots of people regardless of the situation, because it creates better practice habits. It creates a high morale within your practices, and we all know if you're practicing at a high level, it affects performance on the weekends. So for us, having the opportunity to go out in a hostile environment, in the midst of 80,000 plus or whatever amount of people, it gets us prepared, for what we'll face later on within the season. Because in this conference, we're going to play in more people in this conference than most 1A programs. So the SWAC conference is a unique conference in the fact that our fan support is great, and we look forward to this. This is a really good dress rehearsal for us for what we will encounter.
Thank you for your time, Coach, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Broderick Fobbs? Coach, how would you assess the overall quarterback play from Kincaid this weekend?
Well, I was very, very pleased with him at times. I thought, a lot of people, they forget the fact that even though he's from an SEC school, he hasn't played as much football as should be, So, but I thought he played extremely well. He threw the ball well at times. He's very athletic and moved around well. Made some plays with his legs and his arm. There was a couple of tip balls in there that ended up falling into the wrong hands, which, he pretty much has, that has nothing to do with him, but it falls on him. But I was very, very pleased with his ability to sit in the pocket and throw the football effectively. I was also pleased with our other two guys. I thought Cherry played well also and threw the ball extremely well and moved around well also, as is Charles Wright. So I was very pleased with all three of them, and I thought they played well. Of course, there's a lot of things that we have to get cleaned up, read-wise, and I think they will. I think I have a really good staff that understands the importance of scratching where it itches, and I believe, that wholeheartedly. When you're working and you're practicing, you don't just go out there to do drills just to do drills. You go out there to work and perfect some of the mistakes you made and some of the things that you're doing well.
Conference recording stopped.
Folks, thank you very much for your time. We'll look forward to talking with you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Broderick, Fobbs, head coach at Grambling State.
Conference recording started.
Jackson, Mississippi we go now, and Jackson State University head coach Tony Hughes. In his debut, they fell to UNLV, and now they will travel to Nashville to take on Tennessee State this coming Saturday. Good morning, Coach Hughes.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could recap your coaching debut in Vegas, and let's preview a little bit about the Tennessee State Tigers.
Well, we'll start off, flying out to Las Vegas, playing a Division I team in their environment. Half the players we have never flown on an airplane before. The other half have never experienced anything like playing in the desert. So it was a unique experience for us. But even though the score is not indicative of how hard we played, our kids never quit. If anybody saw the game, we played hard. We gave tremendous effort. And the challenge, you dig a hole for yourself early in the game. And on the road, no matter who you're playing, that's a difficult thing to do, is dig yourself out of a hole like that, especially to a good opponent with a good football team. The thing that made the score so one-sided was we gave up 5 explosive touchdowns. That means that runs of 15 yards plus, passes over 30 yards, and then we had a pick six and a fumble recovery. That's 7 touchdowns that you give away, you don't make a team earn. And I talked to my team about that this morning. If you go back and just take away those explosive touchdowns and the 2 turnovers that were touchdowns, that's 7 touchdowns, that's 49 points. The score is 14-13. Now, that may be patting myself on the back and making myself feel good, but in the reality of football, that's really what it is. We gave a game away, we shot ourselves in the foot, and we didn't give ourselves a fair chance to win the ball game. But we fought back, and everything being equal, we won the fourth quarter 3-0, and it's something to build on as we move forward, as we get into Tennessee State this week and into SWAC play in 2 weeks.
All right, the floor is now open for Tony Hughes, head football coach at Jackson State.
Coach Hughes, Trevin Jones, SBS Sports. How you doing this morning, Coach?
I'm doing great.
Coach, first question is the mental preparation going into a game like this. You said there were a lot of firsts that you mentioned, first and foremost, for your players in this experience. How did you get them to settle down, focus on the task at hand, and then make that attack?
Well, I've got to really give my kids and my coaching staff credit. We went out there very focused. Of course, there's a lot of distractions in Las Vegas. You know, you have the Strip and you have, you know, there's a lot of busy activity going on. But where we stayed was exclusive, and we were kind of away from all the distractions. And we did give them time down on the script for a couple of hours. They got it out of their system. And then we settled down and they focused on the task at hand. I guess the thing that at the beginning of the game, going into an environment like that, we might have been a little nervous, maybe even a little intimidated, you know, from that standpoint, which caused us not to play as fast. But once we settled down to the speed of the game, you know, we tackled well. We got a couple of drives in during the game. Our special teams played extremely well, and so we won the time of possession. So trying to take the positives out of it to show that our kids, you know, we just didn't go up there and just stink up the joint, but we did go and try, and we did some good things well. So now we got to put those things behind us and move forward.
And, Coach, as I said to the coaches this morning, I realize it's Monday, and you probably didn't get much of a chance to look at your opponent. But in Tennessee State, O'Shea Ackerman-Carter, the quarterback for the Tigers, he threw for 259 yards last week and had 2 touchdowns. What do you know of this gentleman? Have you gotten to see him on any film in the short time that you've had so far, and what are you expecting?
Sure. And we actually game planned back in the summer, based off their film from last year, because we knew that it wouldn't be but one game. But very impressive. Also, his receivers, Patrick Smith had an excellent game, and he's a game breaker. Edric Evans, the returning tailback, is also a really good player. So, I mean, they're a very talented football team, well coached, well disciplined. They execute at a high level. So it'll be a tremendous challenge for us, and anytime you got a quarterback that can make plays and has experience, he's always going to be a challenge.
And my last question to you, Coach, is what has impressed you about your team? Was there any standouts or anything that just stood out in your mind coming off of last weekend and moving forward?
Well, I will say that our offensive line against a Division I Mountain West opponent only gave up 1 sack. We only had 2 penalties for 5 yards apiece. That was 10 yards of penalty. UNLV had 6 penalties for 61 yards. And that's a great compliment to our team, because in the past, Jackson State was the most penalized team in the conference. And coming out of this game, we may be the least penalized team in the conference. And so trying to change that climate is something that we want to continue to do, and protect the football. We gave 3 turnovers. We only created 1. We're -2 for the season, and that's very important that we've got to get that flipped around in order to have a chance to win. So I'm very pleased with the effort of our kids, and once we started settling down, I think Javante Jones had 5 solo tackles, a tackle for loss, had a great game once we got him juiced up and going, and we've just got to build off that and be able to play well come Saturday in Memphis.
Thanks for your time, Coach, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Coach, how important is it to establish a running game this week in Nashville and get things going on the ground? And if you're able to do that, how much will it make Lamontez Ivy's job easy?
No question. Lamontez and Dan Williams both, and going into the UNLV game, with their size difference on both sides of the ball, we knew that was going to be a factor, running the ball and stopping the run. So our game plan was to, spread the ball out a little bit more, maybe not run it right at them as much, because they did have a size advantage inside, especially on defense. And as the game went on, we actually ran the ball well. I mean, we averaged 3.1 yards a carry, which you like to be around 3.5 or 4.0. Which meant that, that we did have success running the ball better than what we thought we would going into the game. But there's no doubt that when you're able to run the football, it makes everything else operate a lot smoother and takes pressure off the quarterback, because, he's not dropping back every single time to throw the football.
Coach, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Conference recording stopped.
We'll stay in the state of Mississippi now.
Conference recording started.
And we will talk things over with Rick Comegy, head football coach at Mississippi Valley State. His team fell to Eastern Michigan. He'll turn around this Saturday and play host to Alabama A&M for a 4 p.m. kickoff this Saturday. Good morning, Coach Comegy.
Good morning.
Hey, Coach, thanks for joining us this morning. If you could recap your Friday night game and just talk a little bit about your home conference opener with Alabama A&M as well.
Okay. Well, our Friday night game, it was anytime you lose, you're going to be heartbroken about the loss because every time you get out, you want to win. And I believe when we got off that flight, got up that next day to play the game, I think everybody was prepared and ready to go out there and play a good game and shock everybody that we went out there and beat in Eastern Michigan, an FBS school. And so that's just the way we felt. We felt good about it. And, just from their opening, things just didn't go our way. We got a little nervous out there early, and we gave up 14 points, from an offensive standpoint of view. We fumbled the football and put them in great territory, and they went in for some, scores, from easy scores early. But then after we started battling and really getting into the game and getting a chance to play the football game, we were taking it down there. I think they scored one more, and I looked at going to halftime at 21-0, and then come back out and see if we could make some changes and make some adjustments on what we were going to do. And then again, we have another bad play, which we had a play, but the officials called it back and gave them the ball, and they wind up going into halftime at 28-0. But still, at that time, I thought that, hey, 28 points against these guys, we can hang in here and pull something off here. But then what hurt us in the second half was our kickoff team. We allowed them to get 2 kickoffs, run 2 kickoff returns back for long yardage, and put them within the plus 20, and they went and scored, but our kids still played. I was really happy to see the non-quit effort. I mean, that desire to continue to fight on and try to get the win. But, at that point, it was just too far out of reach, and they kind of started maintaining ball control on the ground on us, and, they did a good job. I mean, they got a pretty good team, but I was really pleased the way we changed some things up offensively and were able to stymie them and slow them down and make them call timeout because they didn't understand or couldn't figure it out, because they wanted to stay in a base concept. So we moved things around so we could get some mileage, on the ground and in the air on them offensively. And then from a defensive standpoint of view, I thought that our kids really played well in what the concept that's in right now, that they understand clearly. I thought they played that well. But as the game went on, they started wearing it down from a mental standpoint of view. When you start getting points like that and they're putting points on the board and you really can't do anything about it, only time I felt that the officials really gave us anything was basically in the second half. But I don't want to blame anything on the officials. We just got to go with what was called. But I think that our quarterback, Bray, came on in the second half and did a real fine job after they settled down. I think after everything settled down, when the dust started settling down, the kids started playing some football. That little offensive line that we got, some of the young guys in there started coming around. Those freshmen that are playing, that was odd a little bit at first. I think now has come in. I think watching film today is going to be an excellent thing for us. I'm really happy that we played this game. We needed that fast pace, and that's what I told the guys. We needed that game. I mean, a picture's worth 1,000 words right now. What was left out of the equation will now be added to the equation, I feel, after they watch the film and study themselves, and so I'm feeling real good inside. I know we got a big home game coming up with Alabama A&M. They're a good football team, well coached, and coach does a real fine job with them. At least we have them here at home. We were able to go down there and still won away from them last year, and if things work in our direction, maybe we can still win again this year. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about this team. Young, but have no memories of the past and have no memories. They're a football team, and so that's our approach. And so I think this will be a good game this week, and we just got to prepare well and get our kids ready again, and have faith about moving forward about what we want to do. And I think it's right around the corner for us.
Floor is now open for Rick Comegy, head coach at Mississippi Valley State.
Coach Comegy, Trevin Jones, SBN Sports. How you doing this morning, Coach?
Good. How you doing, Trevin?
I'm doing well, sir. I heard you talk about Bray a little bit, and I'm cheating and looking at some stats here. And he spread the ball around pretty good. How impressed were you with him going through his progression?
I like what he did, but I just was disappointed in him not hitting the backs enough. I think our backs were wide open. They could have been easy dump offs for him. And I think he learned, by the pass rush coming on him, he could have dumped some things off, and we could have got some mileage out of that rather than trying to look downfield and go for the big one. A lot of times, the quarterbacks think, they got to go for the home run where we can pick our way downfield and maintain ball control. But I think he'll see that today. I think when he sees that wide open scenario, he'll be able to make some adjustments there.
And that's awesome. I'll switch to the other side of the ball. Marquise Green, the young standout defensive back that you've had, is he stepping up as a leader for your defense?
Yes, he is. He's stepping up as a leader. I think he's trying to do a little bit too much right now this year, because he knows he got a new host of guys back there with him at the corner and some guys, but they can play. Just let them play and do your job. I think he's just maybe trying to do too much. But he's talented. He can run, and he knows he got a good, he come down hard on the run, and he got a good nose for the football when it's in the air. So I think he's going to, have a great season for us.
And, Coach, let me ask you this. With him being just a sophomore, how impressive is that to you with him stepping up to try to take that leadership role? And, as you said, doing a little bit too much.
I think it's well needed right now. I think, because we're a team that have 3 seniors and only a handful of juniors, I think it's that time because that that sophomore freshman class is the biggest class we got left in house, and now that's not taken in. We're not going to worry about youth anymore. We're not going to worry about that anymore. That's a thing in the past for us right now because a lot of those guys played last year, and so. But as to get back to your question, yes, it's great to have a young sophomore picking up that pace because next year they'll be juniors and they're going through their senior year, and the future's bright. But right now we're worried about today.
Got you. As always, Coach, good luck to you, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate you having an opportunity to talk with you.
Floor is still open for Rick Comegy, head coach at Mississippi Valley State. Coach, I know the numbers weren't there offensively in terms of total offense like you would like them to be, but 17 first downs compared to their 24, you guys were still able to move the chains every now and then. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we were able to do some good things after we settled down, and they still had their their first group in there. They just didn't pull them out, and we got them that way, which I was happy to see. And I'm glad Coach didn't pull off the dogs because we needed to see what was going on. We needed to see our strength in the pit. We needed to see, they needed to adjust the team speed, and. I'm very, very happy, from what I saw. I just think now it's just a matter of polishing it up. It was good. Sometimes you don't want to open up with a team like that. You're always saying, well, geez, I'll get hurt or something. But I looked at this one as, boy, it was God sent because it was something these young guys needed. They really needed this. And so, even the coaches needed it. We needed to know, and so I was really happy, and I'm looking forward to the stretch.
Coach, how excited do you think the guys will be to come back home for the conference opener?
Well, we just got done talking about that before I came down and made a phone call. I think they're going to be excited. Young people have a tendency they don't take it. They don't hold it as long as a coach holds Haywood loss, and I think they're excited. They know what it's all about. It was explained today that this is a conference opener, a game in the East, and they understood the value. If they want to go anywhere, prove anything, and to themselves, that they gotta win the games that are required to win within the conference, and they're going to be prepared. I can look in their eyes. We came out of there unscathed and without injury. Thank God for that, and I think they're just saying, well, okay, well we lost that one, but we're taking that as a FBS scrimmage is what it was, and now it's time to play.
Conference recording stopped.
Coach, thank you very much for your time once again, and we look forward to talking with you next week.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you. That's Rick Comegy, head football coach at Mississippi Valley State. Next up on the call.
Conference recording started.
We'll talk things over with Willie Simmons at Prairie A&M, and it was a late-night battle opening up the new stadium in Prairie, Texas, as they defeated Texas Southern. They'll turn around and travel to College Station, Texas, and face Texas A&M 11 a.m. on the SEC Network. Good morning, Coach Simmons.
Hey, good morning.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. Talk about the late-night football match with your rival, and let's get a preview of your trip to College Station as well.
Oh, it was definitely a pressure-packed game. I'm proud of the young men and how they responded to adversity in a lot of different facets. Opening a brand new stadium, first game of the season against your in-state rival, then to have 2 or 3 long weather delays because of lightning, and have to come back from a 17-6 deficit. I tip my hat to the guys, and that's something we talk about all the time, about overcoming adversity, whatever form that it may come in. I tell them that, I can't tell you what form adversity is going to come in, but all I can do is tell you that we're going to overcome it. And they did a great job of that. So I'm proud of the young men, proud of their resilience, proud of them for again, bouncing back when they could have easily fallen apart. So good win, tough win. Coach Haywood's done a great job with Texas Southern. They'll be a force to be reckoned with, but again, for our guys, it's great to start the season on a good note. We get to watch the film today as a staff and make some corrections and clean up some details. But it's always easier to make those corrections after a win instead of a loss. So happy for the guys, happy for the university, happy for the president and the AD with all the pressure that they had into this game. And we're back to work, looking forward to going into a hostile environment with, an SEC opponent in front of 100,000 at Kyle Field. So it's going to be a tough challenge for us.
All right, the floor is now open for Willie Simmons, head coach at Prairie View A&M.
Coach Simmons, Trevor Jones, SBN Sports. How you doing this morning, Coach?
Doing fine, Trevor. How are you?
I'm well, sir. Coach, just something about a little bit about mental preparation. I want to ask you this question. Your team down at halftime. You come out at halftime, you score 16 points in the third quarter, and that's not even taking into consideration the delays that you talked about. That has to impress you as a head coach, that the mental fortitude that the team had, not only being down, but then having the delays to be able to come back and pull off a win.
Well, definitely. I mean, there are a lot of great things you can take from this game and this win, and that was one of them. That these young men are resilient. They do have a knack for overcoming adversity, and again, that's something that we talk about daily. So I'm very proud of that. I mean, they could have, like I said, they could have easily folded, going down, had a lot of missed opportunities early, gave us some plays on defense early, kicking game, we kind of was middle of the pack early on, and the delays gave us a chance, and halftime gave us a chance to really focus the guys back in, really challenge them to play our brand of football, and we came out the second half and did that, got some turnovers, defense really showed up and played a great second half. Offensively, we were able to make some plays. Still didn't play at the rhythm and tempo that we're accustomed to playing with, but for the overall, we did enough to win the game, and that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Right, and not only did the players have a challenge, but you as a coach and the coaching staff, you had that challenge as well. What do you say to the guys in situations like this past weekend to keep them focused?
Well, first of all, we tell them that we've been through this before. We've had some practices where lightning came and we had to take some delays, whether it be go to the cafeteria and eat and come back and practice it tonight, or sit in the locker room, go meet with the coaches, so we've gone through it before. So what we try to tell them is, you're prepared for it. mentally you're prepared to deal with the adversity that's coming. And again, it's just something that we talk about all the time. I mean, the enemy, the devil, is always busy. He's always going to throw some type of adversity your way. And for us as young men, as coaches trying to make them be prepared for life after football, we have to let them know that whatever form adversity comes in, you got to be ready to take it head on. Don't let it get you out of your zone. And when it's time to perform, be ready to perform. And I thought the guys responded in a positive way and was able to do that.
And Trey Green, he looked like he was taking care of the pressure, keeping the team focused, running the offense, completing he did complete half of his passes, 200 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, but he did have the 2 INTs. How impressed were you with your quarterback's performance this past weekend?
Well, I thought Trey early in the game tried to do a little bit too much. Him being the face of the program, him being the quarterback, I think he maybe took it upon himself to try to win the game. Missed some early reads on some read options, but made some really good throws. I mean, took some early shots. We had some breakdowns in protection early, so he took a couple of big shots. And as a quarterback, having played the position, whenever you take those hits early in the game, it kind of starts messing with your psyche. You start to question whether you're being protected up front and by the running backs. So it kind of hurries you a little bit. Then we had some untimely drops, uncharacteristic of us. I think I counted 6 of them. And then again, once receivers start dropping passes, that even adds more pressure to the quarterback to try to win the game on his own. He's figuring, the line's not blocking, the receivers aren't catching the ball, so now it's on me. I think he started pressing a little bit, trying to do too much early on. And once he settled down, he really was able to play a solid football game. And he has to play better. He understands that. He'll come in and get with Coach Black and watch the film and make the corrections. But, for us to be successful, he's going to have to play a cleaner football game. 2 turnovers. I mean, he only threw 3 interceptions last year, and he threw 2 yesterday. So, we got to do a better job of protecting the football, keeping it off the ground to allow us to play with the tempo we want to play.
And my last question, Coach, how does that new stadium feel?
Well, for us, we've been practicing in it all camp, so, the newness of it is kind of worn out off for us as a coaching staff and as players. For the fans, I'm sure it was a great feeling to be in a brand new stadium. It's been a long time coming. People have made a lot of sacrifices to make this possible. So again, we're extremely thankful and grateful for the opportunity to play in this brand new stadium that we have. And thankfully, we were able to let the fans feel great. Being that we got a win in our very first game.
Thanks, Coach, and good luck to you this weekend.
Thank you.
Coach, when Texas Southern original starting quarterback went out, Jay Kristoff, what changed from an execution standpoint with the number 2 quarterback coming in? Defensively, what strategy changed, or did it change at all for you guys?
Well, we had a plan for both. Of course, they didn't name a starter until game day, so we had to have a plan for both quarterbacks. They're different style quarterbacks, so I thought Coach Street and his staff did a phenomenal job of making adjustments. I mean, again, we had some very, very key timely turnovers. I think we had a turnover, a safety, and a turnover on 3 consecutive possessions, and it really turned the tide of the game for us. Offensively, we were kind of struggling. We hit a wall a little bit, but the defense picked us up. Again, I told the team early in the year, and I think I told you guys, that our defense is probably going to have to carry us until we can, make up for the losses that we had on the offensive side. Defensively, we returned everybody. Offensively, we lost 3 offensive linemen and 3 very, very good running backs. So, and our top receiver, Nick Petrie. So, for us, it's going to maybe take us a little bit of time to gel as an offense. But in the meantime, defensively, we'll have to continue to pick us up. And then the special teams phases, that's got to be the difference.
Coach, you played and coached in difficult environments. How would you label this one that you're going to this Saturday with Texas A&M?
Probably as big as I've been in. At Alcorn, we went to Mississippi State and played there. Same type of environment. Of course, Kyle Field is probably twice as large as Mississippi State Stadium, so there'll be 100,000 plus fans there. Of course, they have the 12th man. I mean, it is one of the most intimidating places to play in all of college football. So it'll definitely be a tough challenge for our guys. This week we'll have to work a ton of crowd noise, make sure that we're able to communicate, get our quarterback center exchange with the snaps, and all the little things that it takes to have a chance to be successful against a team such as Texas A&M. So we definitely have our hands full, but that's part of it. We signed up for this game. We know the stakes at hand, and we're going to do our best job as a staff to get these young men prepared to go into a hostile environment and hopefully have a chance to make history.
Conference recording stopped.
Coach, we appreciate your time and joining us this morning. We wish you well headed to College Station this coming weekend.
Thank you, guys. Have a good week.
Thanks a lot. That's Prairie View A&M head football coach Willie Simmons. His team coming off of a victory of Texas Southern last night. An 11 a.m. kickoff this coming Saturday on the SEC Network at Texas A&M.
Conference recording started.
Next up on the call, we go to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it's Southern University. Dawson Odums and his Jaguars fell short to Louisiana Monroe, and they'll play at Tulane this coming Saturday. Good morning, Coach Odums. Appreciate you joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No problem, Coach. If you could revisit your game with Louisiana Monroe and another in-state battle this coming Saturday in New Orleans with Tulane.
Well, we went up to Monroe. I mean, we really gave ourselves a chance to be in the fall football game and be competitive in the football game, and actually had some opportunities where we probably could have changed the outcome. We played well for our first game. We played hard. We made mistakes. But I really thought offensively we moved the ball really well. We gave up 89 yards rushing in the first half, and then they ended up with over 300 for the game. So it was 14-12 at halftime. We was in the ball game. It was 31-21 going into the fourth quarter, and we had some opportunities. I thought our freshman kickers kicked the ball well. You know, we still got to get better, and I think we will get better. And we got a difficult opponent coming up in Tulane, so it don't get easier, but it gives us an opportunity to prepare and get ready to go face Tulane.
Floor is now open for Dawson Odums, head coach at Southern University.
Coach Odums, Trevin Jones, SBN Sports. How you doing this morning?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm well, sir. Hey, Coach, only being down 14-12 at the half, and then, as you said, you were down, 24-15 in the third quarter. There had to be a confidence boost there amongst the team staying in the game at that point. Was there a turning point there? Was there any point in time in the game where you could actually pick out a turning point?
Well, can't really say a turning point, but, I mean, I really thought that we had some opportunities where we didn't capitalize. And that led to them keeping the lead, and we never was able to put the pressure on them. You know, they drove the ball down. We had an interception. We was returning it and had green grass in front of us. Probably had a chance to return it 100 yards, and their quarterback made a great play, knocked it out of DB hands. We recovered it, but we ended up getting the ball on the 30 instead of possibly getting 6. You know, we got down in the red zone several times and had to get field goals, and you know, they really played well on defense and holding us to 3. But if we get 7 on some of those drives, I think the outcome of that football game would have been a lot different because we moved the ball up and down the field. We was able to make some plays offensively, defensively, and special teams. Willie Quinn had a couple big returns to set up short field, but again, we weren't able to cash in and get points off of that. And that's what we talked about as a staff and as a team, that when defense puts you in position, we got to get 7. When special teams put you in position, you got to get 7. So I think it was a competitive football game, and I think our guys realized, you know, what kind of football team we have, but also understanding what football team we want to become.
Right, and Coach, you have plenty of weapons in your arsenal when you got Tillery and Quinn, and then Howard at the quarterback position. How impressed are you with these gentlemen, you know, stepping out as leaders for your offense, and how impressed were you with your offense this past weekend?
Well, I mean, we moved the ball. I mean, I thought those guys played well. I mean, we ran the ball well. I think Tillery finished with 164 yards. Willie had some catches. Howard missed some targets, you know, but I think, you know, first game, again, that's the first time we've been live since November, getting adjusted to the speed of the game and just, you know, being back in real live competition. But we know that he's gonna play well. He's gonna get better as this year go along, and we're going to be pretty good. You know, they're explosive on that side of the ball. We got some weapons. It was good to see Dylan Beard make some plays. So I like our progress, and I think we're going to continue to make progress and get better as a football team.
Thanks for your time, Coach, and good luck.
Thank you.
We're still filling questions for Dawson Odums, head coach at Southern University. Coach, the play of Tillery, of course, named Offensive Player of the Week here in Week 1. Talk about what you got out of him on Saturday.
Well, he picked up where he left off. I thought he ran the ball well. You know, I think his protection was there. He can get better, and we'll get better. But I think overall, man, it's just, you know, that guy's a football player, and when we buckle that chin strap up, he comes to work every day, and that's what you got a chance to see, and they got a chance to see it live. He's as advertised. You know, I think he runs hard. He's got a determined motor, and, you know, I was happy for him, and I think he's going to continue to get better, and we look forward to this game this week.
Talk about having your opportunities. You got 11 tackles from Johnson, who was named Defensive Player of the Week, and 2 interceptions, returned for 20 yards as well. How much did he play a factor in keeping you guys in the game, especially defense?
Really well. You know, just the leadership, man. Those guys have played a lot of snaps for us. It's the reason why those guys are preseason all-conference, and they play like all-conference performers. I mean, Danny had an outstanding game, and, you know, and I think he's going to have an outstanding year. You know, if we can stay healthy, you know, we got to get through this test at the beginning of the year now. We ain't open up with no cupcakes now. We play Monroe, now we got to get ready to go take on Tulane, who's a very good football team. So our guys will be challenged coming out the gate. If we can just stay healthy and continue to play with confidence and be motivated when we get there on Saturdays. I really like this football team's mindset and where they're going because of those guys like Tillery and Danny Johnson. That leadership is really paying dividends for our football team.
Hey, Coach, it's Luke with the Advocate. How are you?
Doing great. Luke, how you doing?
Doing good. You kind of talked about how ULM broke the running game up a little bit in the second half. I was looking at it, and I think they had like 11 gains of like 10 or more yards running the ball. Where were they able to kind of break off some of those chunk plays? So when you look back at it, what do you think was responsible for that?
Well, I think the quarterback made some reads, but it was more so us, you know, guys, you know, just understanding, you know, having the disciplined eyes and making sure you're understanding your fit, whether you're supposed to be inside or outside. And the quarterback was able to get some yards during the second half, but I think when we came back and we watched the film as a staff and watched the film as a team, they understand what they got to do and going forward so that doesn't happen. And it's more so about your fits, and I think we'll get much better at it. Again, that's the first game and really the first time our guys have seen live situations since, you know, we played in November. So the speed of the game, I thought we adapted well to that. And then it's just fits, getting guys in position and really understand it. We ain't going to reinvent the wheel. We're going to keep coaching the fundamentals and get better as the year go along. And we got one more non-conference game before we get into the conference season. And hopefully we can build some momentum as we get ready to roll into the conference schedule.
You got at least one game of film to work with Tulane and their new coach, with Willie. What did you see in that one game of tape on them?
A really good football team. You know, going against Wake Forest, they moved the ball up and down the field, and probably, you know, played, you know, from stats standpoint, played better than Wake Forest. They're as advertised. I mean, it's a difficult offense. It's going to be a challenge for us defensively, and also their defense is very well. It's going to be a challenge for us offensively, but, you know, we got to kick off, and we got to put game plans together, and we got to go down there and execute in order to even have a remote chance. They're pretty good, and as the season go along, you're going to see a football team out of Tulane that's going to give some people some fits. As they get those young guys into that offense, they practice the same thing every day, all the time. They're only going to get better, and it's going to be a challenge trying to stop their option attack.
Hey, Coach.
Do you have any more questions for Dawson Odums? Coach, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us this morning.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Conference recording stopped.
All right, next up on the call.
Conference recording started.
Our final call of the day goes to Texas Southern University and Michael Haywood. His coaching debut fell just short on the road at Prairie View A&M last night. They'll play at Houston Baptist this weekend. That game, by the way, can be seen on ESPN3. Good morning, Coach Haywood.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm just fine, Coach. Thank you for asking. If you could talk a little bit about last night's late-night battle with Prairie View and give us a preview of what to expect from Houston Baptist.
Well, first of all, I'd like to compliment Prairie View because they did an outstanding job in rallying back from behind and taking the lead over and in the third quarter, and did a really good job of responding when we went back up on top in the fourth. At the same time, I like to say that we are pleased to know where we are as a football team and what our inefficiencies are and where we have to go, saying that it was our first game as a staff and as a team. Our football players really played tough. Really played so in the first half of the game, had a fumble in the first half of the game. Defense really stood up, held them to 6 points in some adverse conditions. However, we came back out in the third quarter, and after losing Jay Kristoff as a quarterback, Hurts goes in as a quarterback, and we didn't work. We didn't move the ball at the fact that they turned the football over. And it took them about 15 to 16 minutes before we could get some continuity with that group again and get the fight back like they should fight. And I think they played well in the fourth quarter and didn't do very well in that 2-minute offense at the end of the game. But at least we know where we are and where we headed and what we have to do to correct it to become a much better football team moving forward. HBU played earlier this week, and we had an opportunity to watch them earlier this week. And HBU's a solid football team. They're on the rise. I think Coach Vick is doing a good job in trying to blend these guys together and some of the guys in which he's recruited from this Houston area. And outside of their special teams this past week, I thought that they were a solid team, solid offense, solid defense. Special teams put them in some minds, caused them some problems. However, it's just going to be another opportunity for us to go get a win. We're looking forward to that.
All right, the floor is now open for Michael Haywood at Texas Southern.
Coach Andrew Roberts, TSU Sports. Coach, can you talk a little bit about the turnovers and how they affected the momentum and overall the outcome of the game?
Oh, we had four fumbles and 3 turnovers, and basically, one, we're moving the ball going in. We have the momentum going early. We're moving the ball down the field consistently, going in to score. We turn the ball over, and you lose the flow of the game at that point in time. You come back, and now we have Davion Hurts in the game, and we go with a zone replay. And the next thing you know, the ball's on the ground. So what happens is that when you're bringing a new quarterback into the game and there isn't any continuity, I believe guys start to lose faith at that point in time. And I don't believe that I did a well enough job in that third quarter getting them back, particularly into the fourth quarter to get it back. And we lost momentum, we lost consistency, and it took the whole quarter to get it back. And I just got to find a better way to rally the troops, especially in that third quarter.
And Coach, how would you assess how your team did running the ball against Prairie View?
Well, I think Woodard and Cooks did a tremendous job of running the football. The offensive line did a nice job of running the football. I've been doing the blocking up front. We lined up in 2 tight ends, and we're running inside zone, and Prairie View started to sit inside, penetrate inside, and when they started doing that, I think the players adjusted well, bouncing the ball outside. Wide receivers, I tell you what, was a surprise. They did a nice job of blocking down the second level defenders. And I was pleased with their blocking effort. Same that in the previous year, Prairie View's defensive backs basically dominated the wide receivers. They rose for the occasion, did a nice job blocking downfield. And you refer to that as learning how to share, because wide receivers they want the ball thrown to them. But I have to compliment them because they learned how to share when the ball wasn't coming to them. They did a nice job of blocking.